got a fantastic lineup of speakers for you today from a range of different voices, representing academia, educationalists, social enterprise, commerce, and young activists themselves. Too many young people are repeatedly told that they can't look forward to the security of full-time jobs, home ownership, or even a functioning planet to bring up their own children on. We also know that local young people often feel excluded from the development that's taking place in their communities, the opportunities that come with it, and feel powerless to do anything about it.
Gentrification and inflation has made things more expensive, and it's just, as a young person, I'm just kind of worried that in the next 5 years things will be more expensive for my generation, wanting to move out, wanting to do stuff in London.
The community is never ever involved in these changes or conversations or thoughts, but then they're told often that these things can't be changed. It's disingenuous for them to say, oh, we can't change these things because they've been set in stone, when clearly it's not true.
What you're seeing here is art washing going on. What you're doing retrospectively by not taking people on board, not creating the opportunities for ethnic minorities, creates art washing.
Often people speak about affordable housing. What's affordable? Whose opinion was that's affordable? So it's really about gaining your statistics and asking the local community, what do you believe is affordable? Because only then, that's when it's transparent about where the profit is going.
Activism is a way of life. It's not something you switch on or off. It bleeds into your work, it becomes your work, and it becomes your life.
Activism is something that has to be sustained continually, and what the historical record leaves us is the dramatic moments in which that comes to the surface, and it's those dramatic moments that change the law, or that create slight shifts in the allocation of resources.
I want to know what you're thinking about the issue to do with activism, about young people getting involved, getting engaged, yeah? So what is important to me is how we can reach out to young people, how we can galvanize their thinking, motivate them to begin the process of engaging with the world around them.
As organisations and practitioners, we need to do more to empower young people to real, decision making.
We need to create spaces around that young people can just, hang.
We've got to take time and actually listen to what the young people are telling us. And I have conversations with councils about, we need young people because we need to tick that box. That's the wrong way of going about it.
There's something about an agency that some young people have because their parents are connected, or their wider network, family network is connected in, and there's a whole group of young people for which that is just not an option.
What I see when we work with young people in our projects is often not enough thought is given to the what next.
Often common engagement is kind of pulling young people from their everyday environment. They're giving their valuable time for helping us out, but actually how we can flip it in a way that it's not them going to, boardrooms or kind of more corporate environments. So how can we infiltrate our activity within their everyday?
Something that young people really need to be involved in is being given opportunities to represent ourselves.
The CDT, as it's shortened known for, is a community-led and owned organisation that is a social enterprise. It's not profit-making. Its whole remit is to find space and secure space in the long term in Hackney Wick and Fish Island for the local community. We do want to create a kind of what we're calling a youth panel, and we want to have a sort of a group of young people who care about the community and for those people to be benefiting.
It's the same story we're hearing over and over again, which is you're turning up at the table, but the businesses aren't. So, we can be as compassionate as we like in saying, please employ black people, please welcome people of colour into your space, but they don't. So, all well and good, we've got an open heart, but, that's the reality, is glass ceiling.
You need to have allies. If, 60% of, Hackney Wick become allies, that's a good number, you know, and that we can work with those 60%.
You start with the ones that want to be your mates, and then the rest will follow, Mike.
We, do activism in the local community. We champion local issues. We also get young people to feel as ambassadors of the football club, both on and off the pitch. And because Hackney was the home of grassroots football, it still is, with the marshes in proximity, we thought, as a football club, we wanted to rebrand grassroots football, where it doesn't just mean of lots of people, lots of playing football in the marshes. It means actually how can we can use the power of grassroots football for good.
What we're starting to coalesce around and think about at an early stage is how to become a social landlord. How can we create the housing that's needed, either supported housing, sheltered housing, because we have young people who are born and bred in Hackney from a range of communities who cannot afford to live in the borough they were born in.
There is racial profiling. There is, I would just say, injustice within the police. And to be able to arm yourself with that knowledge and go forth and have these meetings and find different art forms to actually express that as well, I feel like that's a very, very vital thing. I know for a fact that Colin Roach did not commit suicide. See, Hackney ain't innocent. There's blood on our streets from the hands of the police. There's some names I didn't even mention, like Vincent Graham, Tune Hassan, Michael Ferreira. All these names are no officer's charge. Still no justice for their families. My prayers are large, because it don't take a bullet to break someone's heart. R.I.P. to the fallen. Hackney ain't innocent. There's blood on our streets from the hands of the police.
There are so many young people out there with incredibly important stories and messages to share, but I think often we just don't get those opportunities to be heard. So being part of I Will is about giving us those opportunities and then also making sure the right people are actually listening when we're talking.
There have been so many movements that have really been magnified by digital and social media, even to the point that Me Too is actually #MeToo. That's the name of the movement. So we can really see the impact and how digital has helped to magnify causes and help bring about change in the world or raise awareness.
As individuals, for me, my identity comes from finding connections with people who are like me, but also finding connections with people who are not like me. And that's also okay, that people are different from each other. And that shift is essential, because then ultimately we become a better society when we communicate.
Whole areas of the East End are essentially being ransacked by the city. And the reason I'm using the word ransacked is because everything is under threat right now.
Decision making doesn't always reflect or forward plan what things are like on the ground, and that can be a problem from your perspective as much as it can be from developers who might be missing out.
Young people, certainly in an area like this that's undergoing so much development in such a short space of time, often feel excluded from the development process. But we have 3 opportunities that have been brought to this session, and these are genuine opportunities for local young people to co-design briefs that go about finding solutions to challenges in real life.
We're partnering with the specialist Spaceback to look at what could be done to design this space to improve it. Safety, attractiveness, and improve it as a route so that these 2 different parts of Hackney Wick are better connected.
We are looking for a mural to go up on one of our empty walls.
So the site in question today, so this is the challenge, a group of buildings known as Swan Wharf, which is just to the south of Dace Road.
And what we're going to do now is we're just going to focus on these 3 challenges.
I think what's really important was the fact that we had people in the room that don't normally sit together. Okay, so creatives, developers, people involved in regeneration, young people, from different youth projects as well. So for me, that's really important.
First thing we're going to do is just kind of wrap up what people have been saying in these projects.
Today, it was nice to be part of a really, democratic discussion with loads of different opinions, different voices, very conflicting opinions and voices.
You cannot alienate and block the community from being involved in things and then expect them to come back when you want them to.
It isn't good to have a kind of angry
group, community that feels shut out and feels like they don't have agency, it just isn't going to play well long term.
What was highlighted was that there's structural inequalities that are not being addressed and need to be addressed collectively, and sometimes that power still resides with developers and landowners and people with wealth.
Generally, we are met as a industry of a heck of a lot of scepticism, and that's very well warranted, I think. I would genuinely like to think that we are incredibly different in our approach, and as I said a minute ago, that it's all about putting words and promises and commitments into action.
We've engaged and we've failed, if I'm honest, and perhaps it's probably our lack of understanding in terms of how we kind of work together. It's not that we don't want to work together.
Yeah, it was great to kind of have a platform where people can speak to people they don't normally get access to and share a lot of their opinions.
You need to be thinking about the practices you're engaging with, the people who are in their practices, the culture, to really solve the problem.
Yeah, inspiring.
There's a lot more honest conversations happening, and the fact that I'm seeing it so much more often, I believe that at some point things might start changing, and it's going to take it will take one developer to make that change so that others can maybe take that step forward to kind of change things as well.